Meeting to order. Please rise and give the pledges to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, in your package, you had the June 16th, 2020 Town Council adjourned council meeting minutes. And then we had the regular Town Council meeting minutes for June the 23rd. Hopefully you reviewed them and are there any corrections or adjustments that need to be made to them. If not, they'll stand approved as presented. Report of the town manager.
Thank you, Mayor Rush, members of council. Just wanted to report that we have completed the requirements for the planning grant received from the Forestry Service related to the Bridge Street corridor. The final report will be sent next month. Since there was no consensus to do so, we will not be moving forward with implementing the recommendations of the draft plan at this time. However, completing the exercise should enable us to proceed with landscaping efforts in individual areas in the future if we decide to do so. Also want to advise Dave McCormick has extended his welcome for members of council to visit the active revitalization process at the Bedford Middle School site tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. In accordance with open meeting requirements, and Mayor Rush I think is aware of this, I would request that you adjourn tonight's meeting until 3:00 p.m. on July 29th at the Bedford Middle School site. This would enable more than two of you to be present at one time without having to have a special call meeting. And on an administrative note, I will be out of the office next week, but Sonia Jamies will be in charge during my absence. That concludes my report, and I'll be pleased to respond to any questions you might have.
Thank you, Bart. Appearances before council, are there any?
Yes, sir. I believe we have Joshua Bond here tonight to speak to you from Terman Industries.
Okay. Come on, Josh.
I got a few copies of, I think I got 6 copies if you guys want them, just some basic facts and stuff. While I'm making these. And actually, pass them. I got an email copy of this actually. Anybody wants a copy of it? Well, first of all, I'm Joshua Bond. I'm with Terman Forest Products, part of the Terman Group. We're based out of Floyd County. We bought Hilltop Lumber Company a little over 2 years ago here in Bedford, and it's a sawmill. You know, when we bought this sawmill, we had 12 employees. You know, we're up to 24 employees now, which makes a total of over 700 employees in the Terman Group. We're family owned. I'm actually one of the owners that is not family, and that's good sometimes and bad sometimes. And it's a good company. I've been with the company for about 16 years. I'm here to approach the board and the town manager about the electric rates. And I'll just kind of get straight to business. I know everybody's time is valuable. I've been working with the electric committee. You know, I've seen several of you guys, you know, and met with everybody, and we're trying to get an idea of what we can do on our electric rates. Overall, the electric rates here in Bedford is about 25–30% higher than our other facilities in the other counties that I mentioned, which I left out Roanoke County out of this list. But the sawmill, I mean, it's a little antiquated. A lot of the equipment needs to be replaced. It's been there since, I think, 1982. The Terman Group, we've been in business since 1967, but it's no different than any other sawmill in the United States, and especially, you know, this side of the Mississippi. You know, we're working through the equipment, trying to replace equipment. But, you know, I'm here tonight just to kind of bring it to your attention, and this is something that I brought to the attention of the electric committee, that, you know, the rates are higher here in Bedford County. And, I mean, it's going to hinder our business. It's going to hinder many businesses here in the county. You know, we deal direct with American, or AEP, you know, APCO, at all our other facilities. And, I mean, I have a lot of comparables, a lot of data, and so I'm just here to have an open forum. I mean, we're happy to be here in Bedford County, and we're here to stay, and, you know, I'm sure that we can find a happy medium and figure out how we can, you know, complement, you know, each other. You know, it's a great county to do business in. You know, it's a great resource with, you know, American hardwoods, and it's gained us, you know, some more market shares, you know, because of the timber that's in this industry. And the workforce, like I mentioned before, we went from 12 to 24 people in 2 years. I don't know of any company in Bedford that has doubled their workforce, especially over the last year, with the Chinese trade war and then COVID on top of everything. So here, I'm mainly here to be an introduction to the people that I don't know, say hi to the people that I do know, and figure out what we can do to complement, Bedford, and figure out what I can do to get the electric rates down. There's a couple other options that we can go. I do feel like we may be able to deal direct with AEP, but we are in the town limits, and I'd like to figure out a way we could get a medium general service tariff, which I spoke to the electric committee about before, because right now we're rated as a large general service. As far as the updates to the equipment, it's definitely something that we're working on, and I can show you. Anybody's always welcome to come out to the mill, and I can give you guys the grand tour of what we're working on. And we just recently purchased 17 acres from from Tance Lawhorn, which is Lawhorn Land Holdings, which is all the property behind us, behind the Super 8, and we have some future plans of expansion. But before I go forward with that expansion, I want to try to get a handle on electric rates. I've just got some basic facts here, some stuff that we're doing, to try to be more efficient, to keep our demand down, to keep our energy usage down. So if my data is correct, and it could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident that it's right, it's about $55,000 a year extra what we're paying in Bedford County compared to other operations that's similar in size. Now I'm not expecting all of that, but I would expect some type of tariff change, or per the Bedford ordinance, creating a tariff that fits us. Because right now we're in a tariff schedule that does not fit us, and that's a fact. So like I said, I'm here for open forum, trying to figure out what we can do to complement each other, what I can do to better run my business, and to add the additions and do the capital expenditures and the infrastructure to have more workforce, and just make it a good partnership between Bedford County and Terma Forest Products. So that's about the grand scheme of it. And
I'm going to refer to Chairman of the Electric Committee, because you are more probably aware of some of this, for a brief conversation, not going to debate it a lot tonight. But.
Oh, that's right, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's something we have, we've met in electric before,
Oh, yeah.
And I think you've had a consultant come in, and we discussed some things with the head of the electric department, and it's a discussion that I think we've had sort of internally, but it's also stuff that we also, I think, need to look at more data as well. Mm-hmm. Maybe we reach out to a couple more sawmills and do some data analysis on our own, mm-hmm. To look at those rates, and then see what we can do. Obviously, mm-hmm. We're happy to have you here. We don't want you to go anywhere. We'd like to see you keep expanding.
Oh yeah.
The more you expand, the better electric customer you are too. So,
mm-hmm.
I think it's something we definitely need to look at. But right now, I don't have a definitive answer other than I think we need to evaluate it more.
Oh yeah. Cool.
I have a quick question. I think you met with John, and this was maybe a year or more ago. They recommended replacing some old motors, and I think it talks about it in here. Did you see a reduction in your usage after modernizing some of the equipment?
Yes, somewhat. We have like 100 horsepower, 150, 200 horsepower, three-phase electric motors that's on a Y delta soft start, which is a mechanical way to start a motor. A motor has 3 leads on 3-phase, but if it's a Y delta, it has 6 leads. So it starts in different phases to lower the demand. What we're doing is we're taking out those mechanical dated Y delta soft starts and replacing them with electronic soft starts. And just like one soft start is around $10,000. So I'm 2 in now. I've got 2 of them replaced. And as they fail, or as we work on them, or they become troublesome, I jerk them out and I put new stuff in. And the electric motors, anytime we have an electric motor fail, that's an open drip type, low efficiency, we put a high efficiency, inverter duty, which is a really efficient motor. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're doing all that. Anything lights. I mean, we're replacing all the lights with the newer lights. Getting rid of the I can't remember the name. The ones that had the big bulbs.
Yeah.
The high bay or whatever. But yeah, we're putting the LED, the low energy, high efficiency LEDs.
So by doing that, you have seen a reduction in some?
Yeah, we've seen some reduction, but I've also, for 2 years, I've just ramped production up too. So when we bought the sawmill from Eddie Allen, he was running about 3 million board feet a year. I'm at 9 million board feet a year. And he had 12 employees running one line. I'm running both lines with 24 employees.
Okay.
And so at the same time, I've been just increasing production, but still based on 40 hours a week. We work overtime for maintenance, but we don't work over production. Production is 40 hours a week. And luckily, we've been able to work full-time, 40 hours a week, even through this whole COVID mess. And the Chinese trade war, which if y'all know anything about exports and shipments and stuff, it's hard work every day. We're chasing problems every single day. But we're really diversified. We're selling into every market in the world and have been for 15 years now.
Okay.
When you came here, were you aware that the rates would be 25% more than AEP?
No, we were aware that it was a little higher, but we didn't realize it was going to be that much higher. To be honest, it was probably one of the things that I didn't look that closely to, because I just assumed that the electric rates would be comparable.
Same.
We looked at it. It was part of our spreadsheet. It was part of our our research. But
You've met with the committee for over a year.
Oh yeah, multiple times. Yeah.
Have you been given an answer as to why? It's
Yeah, they're
25%
working hard. They're doing a good job and they're working hard, but I think their hands are tied, because it comes down to the tariff. It comes down, for example, like in industrial three-phase power, you have small general service, medium general service, and large general service. Medium general service is a high energy charge and low demand charge, where large general service is a low energy charge but a high demand charge. And hey, you guys may be purchasing power that just costs a whole lot more, than what AEP is providing to us at our other locations. We have dry kilns in Salem, Virginia, kilns in Arrington, Virginia, sawmill in Christiansburg, Virginia, sawmill dry kilns in Hillsville, Virginia, sawmill in Tazewell, Virginia, sawmill in Rocky Mount, Virginia. And we have convenience stations. We have 5 convenience stations, fuel delivery company, of course, land holdings and stuff. But all of our operations is direct with AEP. So I'm just pulling my data from AEP. I'll probably rub John Wagner. Is it John Wagner? Yeah. I probably rubbed him a little raw a little bit. Him and I bumped heads a little bit, respectfully bumped heads. Because he wants to argue with me about the rates and the antiquated equipment and me getting my data from AEP. Well, that's what we're used to. We've been in business since 1967. And we're still a family-owned company. We're direct with AEP, so that's the data that I have. That's the sawmills that we have, the kilns, all the businesses, and it's not that I'm trying to get anything over on Bedford. Bedford County and the employees and everybody here. It's a partnership. We're here to expand our business into this timber resource to feed our dry kilns, our domestic shipments, our export shipments. We're just here to grow a business, and we've been able to do that over the last 2 years. When companies around us, left and right, are folding, they're shutting down. Even Eddie Allen, the guy that we bought the place off of. He was just tired of dealing with China and everything else. But we're enough diversified that we can absorb things and we can handle it. Northwest Hardwood's just across the mountain in Buena Vista. Their days are numbered. Google their financials and see what they look like. Their credit rating is worse, every month. That company will shut down, and it's just because they're not managed the way we are. We're boots on the ground, hands on. I'm a part owner. Everybody. I have 10 hats that I wear, but at the end of the day, just last week I was in the sawmill with a welding helmet on. We all know exactly what's going on. We're the first ones on the ground in Vietnam and China. When markets change, when COVID hit in China, we had to shift our whole scheme of things. We have a foreign plant in Galax too. I forgot to mention that. That helped out because the low grade going to China, we shifted to the foreign plant. Well, now flooring sales are completely off. Pallet sales are off because shipments are down. But every day we're shifting. So anywhere. We look at our whole portfolio. We look at all our expenses, all our expenditures, and we figure out, hey, where can we save money? because that's what sets us aside from the big corporate companies, from Northwest Hardwoods like in Buena Vista, which will be out of business within less than a year.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. We've heard you.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate y'all's time.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Council comments, start to my left.
You always miss CG.
I know. Thanks. No, I have
We're gonna
nothing.
get back to up close and personal.
At some point, yeah, I have nothing.
Brian. Tim, Stacy, Bruce.
I'm going to stand on my soapbox for just a moment, back about getting close and personal. Folks, we really need to think about how we represent this town, and in particular, wearing a mask, doing the things of washing your hands and staying socially distant. A lot of people look at us and wonder what we're doing. It's amazing to me. We've had internationally 650,000 people have died of COVID-19, 150,000 in the United States, and people are still resisting doing some minimal things. I know it's troublesome. Some of us have compromised immune systems. Some of the folks that are on this here, and we don't need to have it come to us. I mean, personally, I had, at one point, I had a really nice case of MRSA, and you guys don't want to know what that took to get rid of it. It was not pleasant, and but see, the antibiotics and the surgery that I had to have it cut out of my body, it wasn't fun. So, but I would encourage us to support. I won't bring this up again, but please think about that, how we represent this town in wearing masks, in hand sanitizer, and in keeping social distances. Some of you folks are picking it up, but it hadn't been in the past. So I'll quit that. The only other thing I have that I'd like to think about, we're going to come up on a voting system thing here in the very near future. There's going to be a lot of people voting either by mail or early voting. And I don't know whether we can offer some facility to Barbara to help her along with make sure that people can have a place to go to vote that is safe and secure. That may be something we can look into because I understand that the county has, one place at this point, and we have the thing at the library, which is only can take in so many folks right now. So I don't know whether we can offer any of our facilities to help move that process along. It's just an idea. And I'll shut up.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I have one comment. If y'all make a note, on October the 17th, we're going to meet at 9 o'clock as council at Liberty Lake Park for a retreat. We're going to do it early this year. First, we're going to start at 9 o'clock to 9:30. Mr. Berry is going to instruct us on FOIA rules. Then we're going to go into the visioning meeting that we were going to do the 1st of March that we had to cancel due to COVID. And then what I've told Bart and staff is hopefully we're going to avoid some of the conflict we had with budgets over the last few years. And council's going to direct staff on what we want to see in the budget and how we want to proceed. So that's going to probably be most of the day. But we'll take appropriate breaks. And I think the department heads will be there the first part for their spiel, and then we'll have debates and discussions about the rest of it. So October the 17th, that ought to be plenty of time to make your notes, come prepared for some ideas on your visioning and how you want to see the town move on next year and years to come. Council committees. Mr.
Finance Committee met this evening, went over the monthly financial reports, which was actually kind of end of the year. All three funds looked like they performed pretty well. We talked a little bit about some stuff. We're gonna have to make some adjustments in our audit next year, based on some information we found on some really old bad debts from back in the 90s. So anyway, that was basically the gist of the Finance Committee meeting this month.
Mr. Sly.
Electric Committee met, and one of the discussions we had was past due policy coming, in the future for people who are past due throughout this process. So that is still being laid out, but I think it's being managed well by staff. So moving forward, they'll handle that. I think we kind of ironed out which way we're going to go on that. And we did discuss electric rates, lowering electric rates, how that process can look, and at least start having discussions about that, as well as small business, medium business, big business, things like that. So we're having those discussions, and I'll update you on anything that changes there. We did get a brief FERC update on our relicensing of the dam. That's going through smoothly so far, and we should be wrapping that up shortly. When I say shortly, I mean within probably a year or two.
Okay. Revisions to the agenda, I would like to add a closed session regarding personnel at the end of all the new business. And I'll cite that code section when we get to it. Appointment amendment to local building code board of appeals.
There is a vacancy on the local Board of Building Code Appeals, said term to expire April 30, 2022. Mr. James Rose has expressed an interest in the vacancy and is seeking appointment. Mr. Rose is an electrical contractor with a primary career as the Director of Maintenance for Bedford Memorial Hospital. His qualifications represent an extensive background in buildings, their related systems, and code applications, which satisfies state code requirements of the membership to represent different occupational fields to the greatest extent possible. Tonight, council is requested to appoint Mr. James Rose to serve on the local Board of Building Code Appeals, said term to expire April 30, 2022.
Is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? I will note that Mr. McGiver highly recommended. Roll call.
Mr. Black?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johannesson?
Aye.
Mr. Schley?
Aye.
Mr. Schoen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mayor Rush.
Aye.
Motion passes with 7 ayes.
There is no new old business, new business, resolution amendment to emergency communications cooperative agreement. Mr. Christie, or you can introduce.
Well, let me give you a brief bit of overview, and then I'll recognize Mr. Christie. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Campbell County has petitioned to join the town, along with Bedford County, Amherst County, and the city of Lynchburg, as a member of the Central Virginia Radio Communications Board, which is managed through a cooperative agreement with the Central Virginia Planning District Commission. Campbell County's membership is subject to approval of a resolution approving their addition to the group. As the mayor has noted, Gary Christie, who's the executive director of the Planning District Commission, is present to provide further background information and answer any questions regarding the matter. But ultimately tonight, council is requested to adopt the resolution before you, approving Campbell County's addition as a partner to the cooperative agreement between the Central Virginia Radio Communications Board and the Central Virginia Planning District Commission.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, good to see you again. To the folks I haven't met yet, nice to see you on council. Thank you for your service. As the Planning District Commission for the region, this community has participated in that board for over 50 years now. We get local government folks together to talk, and we try to find ways of doing things more effectively, more efficiently. Radio communication is one of those things that about 1996, 4 jurisdictions got together and put up 11 towers, or acquired 11 towers to serve public safety communications. and sometimes Public Works. Right now, we have about 2,800 devices using 16, it's expanded now to 16 towers. And we serve a number of the community college and Liberty University, and they're all interoperable so that in an emergency, those jurisdictions can talk to each other simply, easily, and smartly. In Campbell's case, in 1996, they decided to set their own system up. We replaced our system after 20 years. It's time for them to replace their system. Instead of setting up a standalone system, they've asked to come into ours. They're going to pay $1.6 million as a buy-in fee. They're going to pay for all the equipment that's going on the towers. They're putting up 4 towers and have equipment on 2 of ours. They're going to pay a per unit, per either mobile, portable, some device charge every year, just like the rest of us. So we think it's a fair deal for the radio board. Campbell County thinks it's a fair deal for them because overall it's going to be less expensive than the standalone system. But most importantly from the public safety side is that we can talk to each other. A Campbell County deputy, a Lynchburg police officer can respond to something at the airport or Liberty University, and they can communicate with ease. So we're asking each jurisdiction who's a current member to allow them to come in. Amherst County has said yes. Bedford County has said yes. I go to Lynchburg later in August, and when that happens, then they can make this possible. It will add about 500 devices to our system, so that especially important when it's time to replace the system we have now, Campbell will pay 15 to 20% of the cost of that replacement. What questions can I answer for you?
Will that lower our percentage when we get to that point?
Yes, yes. It's all about unit costs. The system that's in place now doesn't need a lot of upgrading to handle that extra 500 units, so that the radio board will have the additional money to work with for improvements or set aside for new towers or new services 2020, 2030, 2035 when we have to replace ours.
I have one question. Where's the $1.6 million go?
Where's it going to come from?
Where does it go?
It goes to the radio board.
What do you all do with it? Maintenance?
Well, they'll have to decide what to do with it. Some will pay for the things they've committed. They've committed $150,000 to put new consoles at Campbell County. And they'll have some costs, maybe $250,000 worth of costs, to make improvements to bring Campbell on, changing their radios so that they can talk, actually programming the radios, I guess it is. So there'll be some expenses, but most of the money is going into their coffers, and they'll spend it how they think is most appropriate. Okay. Every jurisdiction has one person on that radio board, usually the 911 director or a law enforcement officer. Lieutenant Shannon Walker is from the town. But that board, they manage well over $1 million of operation money every year.
Any other questions, Mr. Christie? Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
I make a motion we approve the resolution to allow Campbell County to join the radio board.
Sir.
No discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johannesson?
Aye.
Mr. Sly?
Aye.
Mr. Schoen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Black?
Aye.
Mayor Rush?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
Mr. Warner, Town of Bedford Equal Opportunity Employer Statement.
Yes, sir, this is largely an administrative matter, but the town's written position on equal opportunity is required to be updated on a regular basis. When approved by town council, the signed written statement is posted on the town's legal posting board in the municipal building. Legal counsel has reviewed and approved the updated statement, and tonight council is requested to approve the statement as the town's position on equal opportunity.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Schley?
Aye.
Mr. Schoen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Black?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mayor Rush?
Aye.
Motion passes with 7 ayes.
Okay, with that being said, the public business has been done. I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711, Prince A, Prince 1 of the Code of Virginia of 1950 as amended to discuss personnel matters. So moved. Roll call.
Mr. Schley?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the council of the town of Bedford hereby certifies that, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the council.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Schoen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Black?
Aye.
Mr. Haley? Mr. Johannesson?
Aye.
Mr. Schley?
Aye.
Mayor Rush?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
Okay, we'll adjourn this meeting to Wednesday, July the 29th, which is tomorrow at 3 p.m. for the site visit to Bedford Middle School.
I can't be there, though.
Well,